So actually, I'm I was maybe one of the first guys in the philtech team. So it was a year and a half ago when we were started. And at the moment, I am kind of a conceptualist of philtech. And I'm thinking of what is philtech itself and how it is related with another movements in the world. And I'm already a backer of your book, so I was I was very inspired by the book, and I've read some books I think you should know, like, for example, Remote and Rework by 37 Signals, and Reinventing Organizations by Frederic Laloux. And what I thought is that your book is kind of next step in this direction, which I personally very interested in. So this is why I'm here, and I'm very excited of your work, really.
Yeah, I'm very excited too. And those books obviously are huge inspirations for us. And I'm not sure I would say our book is next level, but our book is based on real experience. So a lot of the theory and promise of those works have kind of come to life in what we've discovered. And yeah, I've been working all day on the content. So the content is almost locked. Our production starts next week, and we're hoping to have publication date is looking at 10 November or something like this. So yeah, super excited about that. And what about you, Lev?
Okay, so I joined the philtech initiative fairly recently. It's been about like less than 2 months, and what my responsibility is actually developing a communities rather, for philtech initiative, but also I got involved in the developing of our manifesto and working on the criteria of philtech, and I strongly believe in the new approaches to working and collaborating. So by joining, I'm already trying to bring that experience of being completely distributed as a team. So, and I think that Lumio is an extremely interesting instrument and approach to the idea of like collaborative and crowdsourcing of ideas, and bringing it a bit to the next level as far as like the quality of this collaboration is. So it's not just technical means, it's actually like inspiring, some thought-provoking, so to speak. And I'm also interested in any experience that about developing a community, which I believe is a big part of Inspiral. So that is my main interest.
Great, thanks. Vlad, are you there? Are you listening but just not showing your face?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am listening, and I'm not showing my face, and I'm keeping my microphone on mute because there is a lot of background noise where I am. I'm responsible for partnerships at the philtech initiative. Well, that pretty much sums it up.
And how long have you been with the organization, and what's the biggest surprise you've seen, or what's changed the most in the past few months for you?
I've been only for 2 months. I'm not sure there have been any surprises so far, but I'm a strong believer in the concept and the idea, and I believe that philtech is a unique value proposition, which it's high time for people to realize that the global challenges cannot be solved using or are super difficult, if not impossible, to solve using standard approaches, standard non-scalable approaches. And that now that we have technology, which is basically infinitely scalable, we must use technology, and we need to find new ways of solving the challenges that humanity has been struggling with for so long.
Yeah, absolutely agree. How many humans are now involved in the initiative?
I think approximately 15 in the core team.
Mm-hmm.
And I think maybe a couple dozens of them, like in roles of close friends around, who help with different things.
Mm. And what are, so I know that you're starting an accelerator program. What else are you producing? What else are you building?
So actually, philtech is mostly about organizations. So acceleration program is the core of what we are doing. And another important thing is conception of how to build organization in a new way. And main product of this direction now is a philtech manifesto. And I see the third major part is community. And this is the point we're interested to talk to you and to learn of your experience, how to build tight and resilient communities.
Thank you. So I love your values. I especially love value 5 and 6. Those are my favorite, I think. How has your manifesto grown from your values, and can you share the manifesto yet? Is it ready to share?
Almost.
Almost.
I'm actually, as of hopefully next week, it should be shareable.
Mm-hmm. So, great.
Right now, finishing a draft, which is like suitable for being shared with everyone.
Yeah, and Susan, when you say that you like 5 and 6 values the most, so we continuously in a process of rearranging these values, and so it'll be great to just name what values do you mean.
Yeah, and I'm just looking at them again. So I'd say I add 3 to my favorite as well. We were just talking about this today, that kind of one of the core values and one of the core premises of the book is what we call copy, improve, share. So really getting away from this idea of intellectual property, licensing programs. It's really about how, I think, if you listen to somebody like Joshua Weil or Richard Bartlett or me even, 90% of what Inspiral has done has been borrowed or copied from somewhere else, and just iterated upon for this particular manifestation of community. So that feels really good. On the manifesto, it's so interesting. And I'm so grateful to know you, because the next time we have a network convergence, which is a sort of a retreat that we had for the second time this year in Spain. There were about 8 or 9 networks coming together to share what we're learning. And one of the ideas that came out of that gathering was the idea of a manifesto. So I'll be very interested to see yours, and I don't know why it just sparked into my mind that if it's something that is just that I resonate with, that we all resonate with, it could become a global thing and could grow a life outside of philtech, right? So that sounds really interesting to me. The second thing that comes to mind is, I don't know if any of you would have the possibility to travel to Spain in the next weeks to participate in a design group for the Human Networks Festival, which is happening next March. I'm not going to be there, but some of my colleagues are from WeShare and Inspiral and some of the other networks to plan the design and to be part of the core team for the design. So I'll send you, just on the off chance that one of you might be able to go to Spain.
So is it possible to somehow participate remotely?
Remotely, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I can certainly put you in touch with Manel Heredero, who is the convener, to see if that could be possible, because I think that would be great.
Yeah, great.
Yeah. So I guess, just like I said, I'm so grateful to meet you, because I feel like you are brothers already, right? And we're out there somehow in the world noticing the same things and trying to do the same things. So thank you for finding us. How did you find out about the project? Was it through Strelka?
Yeah, I think so, because Olga was noticed your project and shared the information to us. And I think that there was a learning course about building communities with Karen Olson, and I think the information was spread from them to us.
Yeah, was that course good? Because I know that I did a topic on it, but I never saw it.
It is quite good. So it's been translated in Russian, and I'm not sure if there's like an original English text also available. That we should find out from Olga. It is quite a very interesting course, and it's specifically focused on like communities that are around just the idea, not necessarily a certain project or organization, and especially about the communities that are like very actionable and at its core, you know, like the Woman March movement itself. That's Karen Olsen.
Karen thing, yeah.
That's known, yeah, for. So she's like kind of trying to focus on that kind of communities that have the one purpose in mind and that are trying to like get around that strong idea. And it's a quite a good course, definitely. And we're trying to like, right now there's basically like a first group of students who are going through it with more or less success, and we're now contemplating where exactly to move it further next. And definitely it's interesting to find out if it's like have an English version of it. It should. And yeah, the Inspiral had like it's been like a case part of basically one of the lessons of the course. So it's been analyzed there. So
good.
it is like part of it.
So who do you think your clients will be? Who's your core audience?
Our philtech. Well, I think that there is a sort of new I don't know how to say this word, new entrepreneurs, people who
Entrepreneurs,
yes, this word is so difficult to me. So new sort of them who do not want to choose between earn money and make world a better place. And I think that there are some sorts of movements and ideas around which are combining is this new type of entrepreneurship. And I think that such people who who lead organizations of such new type, them are our main audience.
And so do you
I can add a couple words if you know, like, so basically what we believe in is that in the future, the only way to make any sort of commercially successful and profitable business is going to be to have social impact, is maybe even more important metric of your business than a financial gain. Because, and it's not just speculation, it's basically based on the data. If we look at the new generation, like Generation Z, and the upcoming generation, how high they place the importance of the social impact that the organization have, and it's like extremely high. Basically, the majority of them would rather select a product or a service from the company which has a good social impact, and would consider the company as a future employee only if that has like strong culture and values that are like sustainable and positive, etc., etc. So based on that, like the the idea is that it's not going to be profitable to build any business avoiding social impact, because your potential future customers won't choose you over the more social impact wise companies. So basically, that's the main pretense.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with this, and the data is showing it. And I mean, I've been doing this work out in the world for about the past 5 years, and certainly every year it's tenfold. The number of people who are interested, want to hear the stories, come to workshops, do trainings, read books, read blogs. So I think that absolutely, it was fantastic. I was in, like I said, I was in Jakarta this week, doing a master class on leadership in a bossless organization at a Agile conference. And this young woman was sitting next to me. She's probably 20. And she said, I started my new job 6 months ago, and the person that hired me said, you need to build your own job. I'm here if you need anything, but I'm not your boss. Build your own job. And she said, I might go through my whole life never having a boss. Isn't that amazing, right? Whereas the rest of the people in the room sitting in that circle of 80 people, so much pain and trauma, imprisonment, even bosses were sitting in that circle listening to me like question, like, what do we need a boss for? To sign our holiday slip and to decide how much money we make, right? It's not scalable, and it's I think that it's going to be taken for granted less and less. But on my less generous mornings, I wake up and think that generation is going to need to die out before something new can emerge. But if people like us can be building the conditions for people to practice, that feels like the purpose, right? So it's great. Okay, so moving on to this particular project, a couple of things I wanted to talk to you about. First, I'd like within the next couple of weeks to get something from you to go in the book. So a logo and probably a 250-word blurb with some links. If you've got the manifest, how is the manifesto, long or short?
It's like should be about 3 pages, so maybe less, so it is not very long. And we're trying to maybe make it like kind of modular, so you can have a more extended or more concise version. So that's also a possibility.
So that could be really interesting. Like, what is, if you in one page of a book wanted to have the biggest impact in the world, to describe what the initiative is, what you're about, that's your challenge over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Yeah. And then the next part is what kind of how can we help you? So a webinar or conversations, whatever makes sense, is part of the value. So would you like something from Lumio? Would you like something from Inspiral? What do you have any particular requests, or should we just keep talking and see what emerges? What are you feeling?
I have two thoughts on this. So as far as I understand, mainly Inspiral is about how to combine people with each other to collaborate in more open and effective way. And I think that in PhilTech we have two maybe rings of people. One of them is team. And 2 months ago, we converted our team from people sitting in one open space to people who spread it out around the world. And I think that our first request is about how to build our team in better way and how to use experience you have to make this. And another one is about PhilTech itself, because one of our main part is community of people. And we figured out that most of social organizations are built from 4 or 5 roles of people. And at the moment we are thinking of the social mechanism, or maybe social ecosystem for this 4 or 5 roles. And the second request, I think, is about how to build our global community.
Can you say more about the roles? What are the 4 or 5 roles?
Yes. So this roles is part of value chain in social organizations, and first of them is people who find out and describe the problem. So these people mostly from science, and people they are researchers and so on. And the value they share with others is how to define problem in a better way. Second role is people who can propose solution. So they mostly engineers and experts in this area. So people who can say, we know how to solve this. Or, for example, we know how people already solved this problem in different places. The third role is people who create this solution. I mean, people who make the embodiment itself. So it's people, kind of volunteers and professionals, who then go and make this solution by their hands. And the last one is people who provide resources for the whole chain. So maybe in our modern society is mostly impact investors or sponsors of such initiatives. And we think about the fifth role as a people who make vision, and people who have ideas. It's kind of maybe inventors or maybe people who can redesign and reimagine the whole process. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So this is these 4 or maybe 5 roles which are involved in our thinking and in manifesto.
And how are you funded? How are you? Is the core team paid through the foundation? How are you funded to do your work? Is it voluntary? Is it contributions? Is it subscription model like in Spiral?
So at the moment, actually, Philtech is fully funded from the one source, and it's one of the biggest philanthropic private foundation in Russia. So,
and
yes.
how long do you have funding for?
I think 2.5 years.
Oh, that's good. And how long have you been going?
I'm not sure about the question.
How many months have you been in operation?
So actually, I think that it was started simultaneously. So approximately 2.5 years ago, the foundation was established, and actually, Philtech appeared a year ago.
Okay.
So yes, so like the idea, like a concept, and the release of Philtech initiative was this in the middle of this May. So actually, the initiative itself is very young.
Yeah, I would like to say that we are not sure at this point. We are not sure how much of runway we have left in terms of funding from the foundation. So we actually have a strong drive to find additional or alternative investors.
Yeah. So the idea here is that we think the very concept of Philtech is about crowdsourcing and crowdfunding. This is not ideologically right to be funded from the one source, and we think that we should build a kind of crowdfunding or crowdsourcing system to continue.
There are also certain issues with unfortunately there are certain issues with image of Russia as a nation in the international politics right now that sometime may or may not reflect negatively, even though our funding is strictly private capital, and which is not, and the founder of this Rybakov Foundation, he is not in any way involved with politics basically, or so this is just pretty straightforward private capital. But nevertheless, of course, ideally we would have a more distributed investments, funding us.
Are you thinking for the medium term that it is going to be mainly a Russian initiative?
So that's the big part of that's a big part of our work, because right now what we're focused on is trying to on the internationalization of the initiative, because we definitely see that as a global initiative, which is not limited and bounded by the Russian projects. But as of right now, the main core activities had been happening in the Russian and CIS countries, so been basically centered around Russian language. And the first core community that is right now emerging. It is all mainly Russian speaking, and that's one of my big goals, is to set up an international community in Move. So that would be, any help would be greatly appreciated here. Of course, like maybe trying to find some opinion leaders and like people from your community, whoever shares our idea may help join. We need more people, and definitely some like content creators, contributors who would be able to contribute some content in English so we can spread it.
Do you have any colleagues or collaborators in Israel?
Not yet, but we have a lot of friends.
Yeah, Kate Beecroft and myself are going to Israel for a week in the beginning of October. So that could be, it's a similar network organization called Come Again, which seems really aligned as well. So I think that very, very certainly I can make introductions to every network that we know, to see where the biggest resonance is. I think the difference, or one of the main differences within Spiral, is that we've never had any money. It's only now that our ventures and our companies are starting to become successful that there's any money at all in the system. So everything has been driven on heart power, and the little money that there has been through the system, as you know, I'm sure that you read about, as we do participatory budgeting using co-budget and using Lumio to make the decisions on what gets funded, what we spend our money on, what the core does, what the governance looks like, how we make agreements, all of these kind of things. We created from scratch over about 8 years. So I'm really interested in this experiment, that even if it's just a thought experiment. So what elements just take time, and you have to be prepared to take the time, and what can we help you kind of short circuit and build. I think it was good to hear that up until a few months ago you were all co-located in the same place. So would you say that most of the core members know each other well and have a good sort of bonded experience? Because that goes to the question, Andy, you said team building. So I'm interested in around, is it building the team in terms of numbers of people, or is it bonding the team? Which of those makes more sense or is more needed?
Yeah, so actually the short history of team is that a year ago, Philtech was just part of Rybakov Foundation, and there was approximately 200 people in this foundation, and there was a few departments inside the foundation which was directed in ways like education, entrepreneurship, and NGOs, and so on. And we was just one of such parts into it. And when Philtech appeared, it was like a product of one of such departments, and founders of the foundation, the whole foundation, they chose Philtech as the main strategy of the whole foundation. And after that, it was a process of rebuilding and reorganizing the whole foundation. Through this process, most of people left the organization, and just few of them left and become a part of the philtech core team. And from the 200 people, I think only maybe less than 10 people remain. So most of them was, I don't want to say fired from the foundation, but they're just no work for them, and they left. So half of a year ago, we have a very small team of maybe seven, 8 people who was the core team. And from that moment, we decided to build new team, not in a way to hire more and more people, but in a way to connect with people in different parts of the world, which are resonating the idea of philtech. And on today, I think that we have a team which consists from 2 parts. One is a part of core team of a PAS foundation, and another half of a team is new people who joined the team in last maybe 4 months.
How did you reach these new people? Like, Lev, how did they find you? How did you find philtech?
Well, it was like a published vacancy, I guess, and I was personally appointed to it by a friend who was involved with the project, and right now not involved as much, but he just initiated the initial contact between me and Alona, who is a founder of which is a vice president of this foundation and the founder of Philtech Initiative, basically. So we got in touch. We had like an interview, made the test. So it was like basically a more or less straightforward hiring process. But once we realized that we're sharing definitely the same views and ideas, and they thought of my qualification as very good. So then I joined it. That was pretty much how it worked. So through the personal networking, but it was a more or less straightforward hiring process.
What about you, Vladimir? Same personal networking, or?
Well, pretty much yes. I have known Andrei since 2012, I think. And I have known him as the right person for the job he is doing, and I've been following philtech for as long as it has existed. And when Andrei pointed me to a Facebook post saying that philtech is in need of someone to take care of partnerships, I contacted Alona, and that's how I joined.
Cool. Well, this is all great. I think this has been a really great first conversation. I need to go in about 5 minutes. So I guess a couple of things. One, please get to work on your pitch, or maybe it's not a pitch. It's like, how do you want the world to see you? When the book is introducing philtech to the whole world, what is the most important thing for you to say? So that's kind of the big challenge.
And you said that we may have like a page, basically.
Yep. You can write more if you want, but it will probably be edited. So think about it from that basis. Feel free to send me a micro version, page-long version, and a longer version, if that helps you in your thinking. I don't know. Sometimes that helps me to think about it from those 3 dimensions. Also think about the next conversation you want to have. So again, really think deeply about where you think you'll get the most value. If you want to have a conversation about governance, about community building, specifically around the tools, what conversation you want to have. And I'm sensing that maybe it's another conversation between us, between representatives of the core team, and then looking at how the entire core team might come together for a session with 2 or 3 people from Inspiral. I think that would be really cool. Also think about any joint PR activities that we might want to do around the launch of the book.
When is it planned again?
Around the 10th of November. Around the 10th of November. So we're trying to, one of our other catalysts, a company from Switzerland called Peerdom, have their big annual conference that week. So we've promised them that we'd try to get it out for them. So that's, hold on just a second. I just need to, there's somebody at the door, so I'm just going to quickly move around and switch off my video. Yeah, so I think those are sort of the 2 or 3 big things. How does that sound to you?
Yeah, I think it sounds cool, and thank you very much to such a cool opportunity to appear in the book.
Yeah, this is greatly appreciated for sure.
And also, I mean, I think the other thing that I please, when you feel like the manifesto is ready, even if it's not quite ready and you just might appreciate a fresh pair of eyes on it, please send it through to me. I'd be super interested.
Will do, most definitely.
What is the better way to be in touch with you? So what kind of email or maybe
just
Facebook?
Susan, SUSAN @nspiral.com.
Okay.
And also, if that's possible for you to share the recording of today's conversation with us, that would be awesome. Yeah, because when we can share it with Olga.
Yeah, I'll make some notes, send an email, and I'll just probably render it to YouTube so that anybody can see it with a link.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, I guess we can just email you at the Susan@Inspiral.org, and then
.com.
.com. Yeah, and then you've got our contact details this way.
Perfect. Yeah, if you do that now, then I'll get something to you within the next day.
Thanks a lot, Susan.
Thanks, thanks, Liv. Thanks, Andy. Get to bed, boys. I know it's late, and it's Thursday night for you. It's Friday night for me. So
thank you so much for this conversation.
And please tell Olga I'm disappointed she wasn't here, and I hope to meet her soon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.
Goodbye.
Bye. Bye.